Hey guys, it's EdgeTips here and welcome to my How to Java series. So these videos are made for people who are just starting to code or just starting to code in Java. So these videos are going to be basics basically on how to code. All right, so the first thing you want to do when you have Eclipse open is go to File, go to New, go to Java Project, and then write the name of the project you want to work on. So let's just call Tutorials for now. We click Finish. And now what we want to do is create a class. So a class in Java is basically just a program. So we're just going to write first program since it's our first one. Now, since we're starting, the thing that I recommend is to check this button right here where it says public static void main. And then we hit finish. All right, so now we have our starting code. So in Java, we have a main method. So this is our main method. And inside, it's where everything is executed. So suppose I want to print something on the screen. It's where it's going to read it from. So what I'm going to do is just that. We're going to print on the screen something like hello world. So the first thing we want to do is put system with a capital and then .out.println. So what this says is that I want to output from the system a print command to the screen. So once we did that, we use quotations to specify Java that I want to use a string. And now what I can do is write whatever I want inside that string. So now I'm going to write hello world, and you must realize that I also put a semicolon. So the semicolon is just to say to Java that I've finished writing my statement and I'm ready for the other one. So once that's done, what we do is press run. So the run button is right over here, and we just press that, say OK, and as you can see, we have printed hello world to the screen. All right, so that's going to be step one. Now the second thing we want to do is play with variables. So in Java, variables is like the information you store. So suppose I want to create a variable with the string. What I do is write string. So that's going to be the type of the variable I want to use, and then I'm going to write the name of that variable. So now I'm just going to write info as a name. I'm going to put equals, and then inside I'm going to write some information like my name is EdgeTips and I am 22 years old. All right, so once we did that, we also put our semicolon. So as you can see, I put another message inside these quotations, but now instead of directly going into system.outPrint, I just initialized my variable, and immediately after I give it a string. So now if we use system.out.print, and then I only use that variable info, and we run again, whoops, we're going to get my name is EdgeTips and I am 22 years old. All right, that's cool, but we want something cooler than that. So what we're going to do is take from this string and create independent variables like the name and the age. So what I can do is create a string called name. And inside, I'm going to put EdgeTips. I'm going to do the same thing, but now I'm going to create a variable that takes in an integer value. So to do that, you write int for integer, and then now what we can do is just write the name, which is age, and then we just give the number. And that's it. All right. So now what we've done is create these variables to store independent values. So now if I use a system.out.println, and I want to use these variables, that works. So if I say do like name and run this, I'm going to see, so these are the second one, the second system.out_print, and then this is the third one. But now what I want to do is to combine the variable with a sentence so it makes sense. So what I'm going to do is go to the beginning and then open my quotations. Now here inside, I'm going to write my name is, and then what I'm going to do outside the quotation, I'm going to add a plus sign. So this says to Java that you want to put this variable with your string value, so that Java doesn't get confused on what to do. And then we do the same thing again, plus we open quotation. So this says my name is edge tips. So we want to say and my name is, and then you want to do the same thing with age. So you write age. Okay, I apparently don't know English. So and I am 22 years old, right? So now we want to write 22. Which one? Right, years old. We only get that 22 written down, and we do the same thing with the plus. Okay. Now, if I run this, we get the same string as we did earlier, but now we have independent variables that can modify the string. So suppose I want to change my age to 23, and say I want to change my name only to Edge. So now if I run this, this is going to read from those variables, and now everything's changed. All right, that's cool, but we want something more cooler than that. So what we want to do now is to ask the user to give in those informations. So instead of me writing manually edge tips and stuff, I can just write, the computer can ask me what those values are. So the first thing we want to do is create a variable called scanner. So a scanner is basically like a tool that helps, that makes it so that Java asks us a question, and then, asks our input, and then we give the input, and then it uses that information. So let's do that. So let's create a scanner variable. Let's give it a name input, new scanner. And so inside, what we want to do is to write system.in. So remember how we used system.out for printing stuff, because we wanted to use that as an output, but now we want to use as an input, so we put system.in. Now we just put the semicolon, and we're about there. So now it's going to say that there's an error. That is because the Java utilities aren't automatically imported. We have to do that. So what you do, you can either go here and import those manually, or Eclipse gives you the option to do it for you. So all you do is hover on the error and then click the first one. And then as you can see, now you have an import java.util.scanner. And so we've imported that. So now what we're going to do is that we want the computer to ask us the information. So let's do that. System.out.println, and I want to say please enter your name and your age. Okay, so we're gonna enter our name and our age one at a time. So this asks me the question. Now I'm also gonna remove these stuff. All right, now the next step is use the input that we've created and put that inside of a variable. So input.next line. All right, now what we want to do, because now this is only going to take the information, but it's not going to store it anywhere. So suppose I want to store it like a string. What I do is create my string and then get the information from scanner. So string, let's call that name again, equals input.nextLine. And now if I do system.out.println and use name, and I run it, let's see what happens. So as you can see, now it's asking me a question. Enter your name and age. Now we only coded the part for the name, so let's put name. So edge tips. And as you can see, now it's just going to output that information. Now let's do the same thing with the age. So now that's done. Let's remove the system.out.print. All right, so all we got to do now is do the same thing, but with the integer. So int, say age equals input dot next. But now we want to have an integer, so we just put dot int. And there we go. So now, as you can see, I've stored inside my variable age the input as a next int, and same thing with the string. And now what we need to do now is basically just to output with something that makes sense. All right, so print line. Now I want to put here my name is, and then name plus put quotation and I am. And then we're going to put the age, years old. Whoops, years old. All right. So hopefully this makes sense compared to the previous one. All right. So please enter your name and age. Let's do that. So let's put something else. Let's put Max, the name of my dog. And now once we press enter, now it's waiting again for an input, and now it's waiting for my age. So I'm just going to say, so how old is Max? He is 7 years old. So I'm just going to write 7. And then as we can see, it says my name is Max and I am 7 years old. All right, well, that is for today, guys. I hope you liked the video. If you like, please comment down to give me a feedback if you think I'm going too fast or going too slow. If you liked it, like it up and subscribe. Anyways, for the next videos, I think I'm going to make a video about methods. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. See you by then.